You have no idea what they did to you behind the scenes. And what if I told you that everything you thought was just bad luck, rejection, betrayal, or humiliation was actually a ritual? A hidden test, orchestrated in the shadows by forces that wanted to see you on your knees. They didn't choose you to be loved. They chose you to be tested. You were thrown into the center of a board where every move you made was watched. People you trusted were used. Situations planned to look like coincidences. Sharp words spoken as if they were just honesty. But the truth is brutal. It was a silent ceremony of emotional destruction. They needed to see how far you could be pushed. They wanted to know if your soul would break. They call it the ritual of humiliation. Not a symbolic ritual, but a real ordeal, where the chosen is stripped of their strength, mocked, ignored, discredited. They wanted to erase you from the inside out. And you know what kept you standing. It wasn't pride. It wasn't luck. It was discernment. Your spirit screamed before your mind could even understand. Your intuition pulled you away before the final blow was delivered. You saw what human eyes couldn't see. You understood what many spend a lifetime ignoring. This wasn't just pain. It was a spiritual war. You were placed in circles you didn't belong to. You felt like you were always in the wrong place, with the wrong people, hearing words that wounded you but were called advice. But inside you, there was a silent radar, a spiritual compass that told you, this is a trap. And when many would have gotten lost, you walked away. When others would have begged for acceptance, you chose silence. When the environment demanded screaming, you remained calm. That's not weakness. That is spiritual superiority. You went through the humiliation and came out cleaner than you entered. Wiser, stronger, more protected. Yes, protected. Because in that moment when they wanted to break you, heaven clothed you with invisible shields. Your discernment wasn't just a trait. It was an armor given by God. And now that you've survived, understand. This wasn't in vain. It was a rite, a transition, a brutal preparation for something much greater. You were a threat. Your light disturbed them. Your potential frightened them. They knew they couldn't destroy you from the outside in. So they tried to make you destroy yourself. With doubt. With rejection. With loneliness. But they failed. Because you are one of the few who understand the value of separation. You are one of the few who know. When everyone pulls away, it's because God is drawing near. While they mocked you, something was growing on your back. Wings. While they laughed at your pain, your vision aligned with truth. While they thought they were diminishing you, you were being elevated from within. That's what happens to a chosen one. They are not spared from pain, but they are guided by it. And now that you've made it through, you are marked. Marked by heaven. Marked by the hidden realms. Marked by your story. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You've already proven to the entire universe that you are unbreakable. That even when they crushed you, you bloomed. Even when they buried you, you were reborn. There's no turning back. You've been sealed. And if you're hearing this right now, it's not by chance. It's because you're ready for the next stage. But before that, breathe. Acknowledge it. Accept it. You went through a ritual of humiliation, and you came out of it more powerful than ever. They didn't know who they were dealing with. They didn't know that messing with you was messing with God's promise. They thought they could diminish you, but they only made you more dangerous, spiritually. If you hadn't had discernment, you would have been destroyed. But you saw what few can see. You survived where others would have gone mad. You won where many gave up. You're not watching this by accident. You were guided here because there's more to come. Much more. But to move forward, you must remember who you are. You are the one they tried to silence, but your voice grew louder. You are the one they tried to humiliate, but your light shined brighter. You are the one they tried to destroy, but your purpose protected you. And the entire universe is about to recognize what they tried to hide. Have you ever noticed how no one truly recognizes the depth of your pain? How they try to minimize what you went through, as if it were exaggeration, as if it were drama. But deep down, not even they believe what they're saying. They feel it. They know. They know you faced something that would have destroyed anyone else. They can't explain it, but they know you came back different, stronger, firmer, quieter. You stopped trying to prove yourself, stopped trying to justify, and that bothers them, because your presence now carries something words can't explain: spiritual authority. You entered the ritual as a victim, but you came out as a witness that there is an invisible world where everything is decided before it happens. A witness that what looked like betrayal was in truth liberation. A witness that what felt like loneliness was actually divine isolation. They don't know this, but you do. Your discernment was your angel. It was the voice that whispered, "Get out of there." It showed you the malice behind smiles. It led you to end friendships, break cycles, walk away from places, even when you didn't fully understand why. What they called coldness was just self-protection. What they called distance was simply the response of someone who had already seen too much. You survived something no one was supposed to survive. They threw you into a cage full of emotional beasts, and they waited to see you torn apart. But you walked out whole, not without scars, but full of wisdom. They don't understand how you're still standing, but that's because they don't know who's kneeling for you. Every tear you cried in silence carried a request, and that request wasn't ignored, it was stored, saved. And now, it's starting to be answered. You're on another level now, but not a social level, not a level that human eyes can see. An energetic level, a spiritual frequency, a vibrational elevation. You're vibrating at a different frequency, and that's made you incompatible with people still living on the surface. That's why you feel alone. That's why you feel misunderstood. But the solitude of the chosen isn't abandonment. It's preparation. It's God cleansing the atmosphere around you. It's the universe silencing the noise so you can clearly hear the next command. They couldn't withstand the silence you endure. They couldn't handle the isolation you face. They need distractions. You don't. You've already learned. It's in the silence that the greatest revelations happen. And now you begin to understand why it all happened. Every person who hurt you, every door that closed, every fall that forced you to rise stronger, it was all part of the ritual. But what they didn't know is that this ritual wasn't for destruction. It was for revelation. You weren't broken. You were revealed. The fire didn't consume you. It purified you. And those who thought they were bringing you down were actually, without knowing, kneeling you before your purpose. You were forged in pain, in shame, in rejection. But every piece of you that fell to make space for something new to grow. You're not the same anymore. You don't need the same confirmations. You no longer wait for validation. Because now you know. You know you are chosen. You know you were set apart. You know you carry a mantle, and the entire spiritual world knows it too. Your battles are no longer external. They are internal. And you've been winning each of them in silence, while others don't even realize you're fighting. That makes you dangerous. It makes you rare. It makes you unreachable to those still living for appearances and convenience. You've become a mystery, and that scares those who depend on predictability. They want to understand why you didn't fall. They want to know how you survived, but they couldn't handle the truth, because the truth is simple. You're not alone. You walk with guides. You are protected. You were prepared even before you were born for this moment. And now, as you listen to this, the pieces are still falling into place. Everything that once seemed meaningless now gains purpose. Everything that once made you cry is now turning into strength. You don't need to go back. Don't need to seek out those who hurt you. Don't need to prove that you're doing well. Your light already shows it. And even without understanding, they're seeing it. They're seeing that you blossomed. They're seeing that you shined after the darkness. They're seeing that no humiliation could destroy you. They were part of the ritual. But you were the altar. And when everything seemed lost, when nothing made sense anymore, you heard that voice. The voice that said, "Get up. Breathe. This is not over." And you obeyed, without strength, but with faith. Without support, but with purpose. And that saved you. Now, the moment has come for you to understand the level you're at. You're no longer just a survivor. You are an initiated one. Someone who went through the fire and came out golden. Someone who was tested by darkness and approved by the light. You've become untouchable to the ordinary, invisible to evil, unbreakable to the system. You are a landmark in your generation, a cycle breaker, a portal of revelation, and every step you take now is being watched. Not with mockery, but with fear. Because they know you are coming back. Different. After everything you've been through, there's now something inside you that no one can touch. It's as if your soul was sealed with a key that only the heavens can turn. You were hidden, guarded, set apart. And no matter how hard they try to figure you out, they can no longer access you. It's not arrogance, it's protection. It's divine shielding. It's sacred discernment. The same discernment that saved you from emotional ambush, from subtle manipulation, from the vicious cycle of humiliation disguised as affection. They set a trap for you. They watched you like prey. But they forgot one detail. You were never alone. While you were the target, something greater was watching over you. While they laughed, a powerful silence was protecting you. And in the exact moment, discernment shouted inside of you, "Leave now." And you left. Lost, maybe. Bleeding on the inside, yes, but free. And that, no one expected. The truth is, you went through something that has no name. It's deeper than pain, crueler than abandonment, darker than betrayal. It was a process of emptying, a ritual meant to drain your essence until you forgot who you are. They wanted to erase your spiritual identity. But the opposite happened. At rock bottom, you remembered. You remembered what you carry. You remembered your dreams. You remembered the promise. You remembered what you were born to be. And that remembrance activated something inside you that had been asleep. The calling. You began to see everything with new eyes. You felt you could no longer act the same. What used to hold you back now feels ridiculous. The people who once captivated you now feel shallow. Do you know why? Because you woke up. And when the chosen one awakens, there's no going back to sleep. Your soul expands. Your energy rises. Your consciousness breaks through the chains of the matrix. And that makes people uncomfortable. They'll start saying you've changed, that you're acting strange, distant, cold. But it's not coldness. It's discernment. It's not distance. It's elevation. You're getting closer to what truly matters, and farther from what once kept you stuck. And that's necessary, because what's coming requires a new level, a new posture, a new awareness. You can no longer be accessed by the same frequency as before. Those who only want to drain your energy can no longer get near. Those who only want to manipulate you can no longer deceive you, because you've awakened. And in that awakening, a responsibility was born. You weren't spared from that ritual for nothing. You didn't survive just to keep living on autopilot. You were protected because there is a mission. And that mission begins now. The first stage was liberation. You broke the tie. You ended the cycle. You escaped the attack. But now comes the calling. The world is in spiritual warfare, and few can see it. While many argue over politics, status, attention, and vanity, you were set apart for something far greater. You were called to be a channel, a bridge, an antenna connected to the heavens. Your voice won't be just an opinion. It will be direction. Your choices won't just be personal. They will be strategic. Your life will become a key that opens doors for others. And that's why you were tested. That's why they put you through the fire. Because only gold survives the furnace. And you are gold. Now that you know this, stop hiding. Stop shrinking. Stop trying to fit where your soul no longer belongs. You don't need to be accepted anymore. You need to be obedient to what you carry. You're in transition between who you were and who you are about to become. And in this in-between, many won't understand you. They'll judge you. They'll abandon you again. They'll look at you with suspicion. But this time, you already know this is part of the process. You are not just anyone. You are chosen. And no one expects the chosen to have popular approval. What's expected is that they remain faithful to what they heard in secret. That's what sets you apart. You don't follow what you see. You follow what you feel in the spirit. And that spirit saved you, warned you, pulled you out, lifted you up when no one else reached out a hand. And now it keeps whispering, prepare yourself. You will soon understand why everything had to be this way. You will still see that those who humiliated you will come looking for you. Not for revenge, but because you will become their answer. You will still see that every silent cry will be answered with victorious laughter. That every sleepless night will be replaced by peaceful mornings. That every closed door will give way to portals opened by invisible hands. But none of this will come to stroke your ego. It will come to fulfill the plan. You were saved because it's not over yet. You were spared because your mission is just beginning. And everything you went through was only the introduction, the warm-up, the foundation. Now it's time to rise, to put on your armor, to align your vision, because the world is about to see who you really are. And many will be surprised because they only saw your fall. But now, they'll witness your rise. Few truly understand the price of staying on your feet. Many speak of strength, but only those who have stood at the edge of the abyss and chose not to jump know what it really means to endure. And you endured, even when it felt like no one was watching, even when your soul begged for rest, even when the shame felt unbearable, you remained. And the entire spiritual realm witnessed it. It was there, in the silence of your room, in the moments when you felt forgotten, that the forces of heaven decided to seal you with authority, with vision, with mission. The humiliation was the test, discernment was the code, and endurance was the proof. And now you carry a legacy. It's no longer about you. It never was just about you. It's about everyone who will come after. Everyone who will look at your life and realize that they too can overcome. Everyone who's going through rituals of humiliation today and doesn't yet know there is hope. You became a lighthouse. You became a sign. Your survival is not just survival. It's a spiritual message, a warning to the darkness. He didn't give in. And that changes everything. Because when a chosen one stands firm, their entire lineage is blessed. You begin to cleanse the family tree. You begin to break pacts made even before your birth. You cut off curses. You break sentences. You disconnect your soul from inherited pain. What you did, even without realizing, was revolutionary. You faced decades of spiritual oppression in a single lifetime, and you survived. That is the definition of a miracle. That's why now, the atmosphere around you is changing. You're going to start noticing strangers looking at you differently, children who don't know you smiling at you on the street, animals approaching you with inexplicable affection. The entire universe recognizes an awakened, chosen one. You no longer belong to the same energetic cycle. Your soul vibrates at a different frequency. Your gaze is no longer the same. Your silence now carries more weight than 1,000 words. And those who mocked you will notice. Those who called you weak. Those who applauded your downfall. Those who fed on your pain as if it were entertainment will witness the glory that rests upon you, not as a spectacle, but as divine justice. Because there is a spiritual law that never fails. Those who endure the desert inherit promises. Those who walk through shame in silence are honored in public. Those who are humiliated by men are exalted by God. And the time of exaltation is coming. But unlike what they think, you won't be exalted with spotlights. You will be exalted with peace, with direction, with fruit. Your life will be living proof that no one mocks what is consecrated. And you are consecrated, not by men, but by a purpose that preceded you. Now it's time to make different choices, to say no to everything that dims your light, to stop trying to save those who only came to slow you down, to cut emotional pacts with those who don't have the structure to walk beside you. You no longer have time to carry dead weight. Your energy is now sacred. Your attention is a divine tool. Your time is far too precious to be wasted on distractions. You have been activated. You are on a mission. And the more you obey, the more heaven moves on your behalf. Doors will begin to open, but they won't be ordinary doors. They will be portals. Spiritual portals. Unexpected connections, sudden revelations, prophetic dreams, precise words, divine signs in the midst of chaos. All of this will begin to surround you, because you've arrived at a place few ever reach, the turning point. The humiliation was the final stage, the most painful, the most lonely, but also the most necessary. That was where you would be tested. And you passed. Now you will understand why so many gave up, why so many fell, why so many turned back. Because it's not easy. Because it requires more than faith. It requires discernment. And your discernment was your secret weapon. It was what kept you from returning to the trap. It was what kept you alert. It was what made you seem strange, but kept you safe. Discernment pulled you away from friendships that seemed good, but were traps. Pulled you from places that seemed blessed, but were contaminated. Pulled you from empty promises, corrupt alliances, and poisoned praise. And all of that saved your life. Now it's time to honor that discernment, to move forward with courage, to obey the voice that protected you. You will need to be firmer, more selective, more spiritual, because the next steps cannot be taken in doubt, only with faith. You did not survive humiliation to live in confusion. You survived to reign with wisdom. And to reign here does not mean ruling others. It means ruling yourself, your emotions, your impulses, your ego. True spiritual authority begins in the unseen, and you have already begun. Now that you've made it this far, you need to understand one fundamental thing. You have won the ritual, not by luck, not by chance, but by purpose. It was your discernment that saved you, yes, but it was your essence that sustained you. Because even when you wanted to give up, something inside you screamed, "It's not over yet." That scream was your spirit. It was the echo of an ancient call, of a promise made over your life before you were even born. You were marked to win, even when it seemed otherwise, even when your story looked written with failure, even when those around you had already given you up as defeated. What they didn't know is that the humiliation was only the rehearsal. The real show would be your ascent. And now, that ascent is near. You will start living things others only dream of. You will access spiritual, emotional, and material levels that would have seemed unreachable years ago. And it's not to show off, not to silence others, but to inspire. You will prove that pain was just a gateway, and that resisting the ritual raised you above the average. You are now spiritually untouchable. You can no longer be ashamed. Because you made humiliation your ladder. You can no longer be manipulated. Because you cracked the code. You can no longer be dominated. Because now you govern yourself. And that is rare. So rare it bothers people. Because we live in a world where everyone wants to control others. But few master their own shadows. You conquered your shadows. You conquered the desire for revenge. You conquered the need to be accepted. You conquered the urge to prove something. Now, everything you do is by conviction. This is the new frequency of the chosen, a frequency where silence speaks louder, where the gaze carries fire, where presence changes environments. You carry this presence. And it does not come from books nor techniques. It comes from survival. It comes from intimacy with pain. It comes from connection with the higher. And because of this, now you will be rewarded. Prepare yourself, because the rewards will start coming. But beware, they won't be only material. They will come as inner relief, as unexpected answers, as peace where there was once noise, as direction where there was once confusion. You will be placed in places you never imagined stepping into, invited to tables that once ignored you, called by those who rejected you. But this time, you will know exactly your worth. You won't be seduced by flattery. You won't be blinded by opportunities. because you already understand. What saved you was discernment, and that discernment is now your shield, your weapon, your inheritance. Don't lose it. Don't ignore it. Don't trade it. It is what separates those who arrive from those who remain. Many touch the miracle, but few sustain it, because the miracle demands spiritual structure, and you went through the process of building, stone by stone, tear by tear. And now, you are ready. Ready to be honored without losing your essence. Ready to rise without stepping on anyone. Ready to grow without forgetting who lifted you. What is coming is so big, it will seem like a lie, but it will be real, and you will know it came from the higher, because everything will flow effortlessly. Everything will happen at the right time. Everything will be confirmed in your spirit. What once seemed impossible will become routine. Your presence will be sought, your word valued, your story studied, because you have become living proof. Proof that the humiliated will be exalted. Proof that the fallen can rise. Proof that hell can try, but it cannot touch a chosen without divine permission. You are that proof, and your testimony will be powerful. But don't forget, you have a mission. Now, others need to hear you. Others need to understand they can also win. Others need to receive the same discernment that saved you. So speak. Don't be silent anymore. Don't hide your story anymore. Don't be ashamed of the pain. It was the key. Now, transform your pain into direction. Transform your scar into a map. Transform your fall into a message. You are the trumpet that heaven will use. You are the torch in the midst of darkness. You are the echo of the truth that cannot be silenced. You are chosen, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will be able to stop God's promise over your life. If this video has reached you, it was not by chance. It is because your soul recognized the truth. You have been separated. You have been chosen. And now, it is time to awaken others. Write 11 in the comments to confirm you received this message. Write it to spiritually seal this word over your life. Subscribe now to the channel. Turn on notifications. And share this video with those who also need to be awakened. Don't be selfish with the light you received. Spread it. You are not part of the crowd. You are part of the silent revolution of the chosen. See you in the next revelation. And until then, stay firm, awake, and unshakable.